Okay, welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gizella K, and today we continue to look at the case of missing mother of two, Nicola Bulley. So let me put this up here in case there is someone here who's never seen anything about this case before. Nicola Jane Bulley has been missing since January 27th. She was last seen at around 9:10 a.m. She's a 45-year-old mother of two little girls, aged 6 and 9. She's from Lancashire. She was walking along the River Wyre in Lancashire at the time. And she's white, 5'3", 1.6 meters, and speaks with an Essex accent. If you have any immediate sighting of Nicola Bulley, please call 999. There's also a link on the Lancashire Facebook page. There's many links that I'll share in the description box and the pinned comments for you if you have any information that could help. Thank you so much all for being here. If you wouldn't mind liking the video and sharing it so that other Grizzlies who did not get the notification can be notified that we are here right now. All right, so the thing I want to show you now, there's some important updates that we have to talk about, one of them being this. Thank you to everyone who sent this to me. I've also been watching this. I watched the whole special today, Sky News 3-hour special. So this is where they encounter, the news reporters, a dog walker who talks about Nicola's phone being found. Okay. Also, let's just see this quickly. CH says fifth option, voluntarily left and subsequently ran into trouble. I'm sure I could put 10 options there, right? But YouTube only lets me put 4. But yes, exactly. All right, so let's have a look at this. I'm going to make sure we boost the sound so we can hear everything really nicely. And then I'll talk more about this as well. Okay, so here we go. Ready?
Morning, sir.
Come on
Fine.
through.
Do come
How
through.
are you?
No, not at all.
Good to see you.
Do you live here?
Well, it has been like that. So you actually saw the phone, is that right? Yeah. You saw the phone that Friday morning?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was around, was it after 9:30?
I gave a full statement to the police with the exact time because, excuse me.
Okay, so someone here in the chat says, Kitty hates crap. He just happens to be walking, but they know who he is. Yeah, it's come across either a little bit staged, or does he want to talk to them, or what? Because he could have just walked, obviously. He could have taken a left turn after coming out, from the kissing gate bench area. He could have turned left if he wanted to avoid the reporters. But it's kind of like, oh, hello, there you are. And then information is shared. So now he's going to talk about when Nicola Bulley's phone was found. So pay careful attention. Listen to it.
Because my wife's telephone call had the time on it, so but I've given a full statement to the police.
Was it just on the bench, or?
Pardon?
Was it just on the bench?
The phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they say, was it just on the bench? And he's like, the phone? I don't know. What else would it be that's just on the bench? But okay.
Yeah. How's the last 3 weeks been?
Each day something new comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
and in terms of, when you saw phone, lead and Willow, who you knew who Nicola was.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you knew the Willow, that was it, wasn't it? You knew Willow.
I knew I'd seen both the owners of Willow.
Yeah.
Okay, because they are regular dog walkers, Nicola and Paul, and so is this guy. He says he's seen them before. He's seen both owners of Willow, but he didn't know their names. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this after this.
Walking this dog in the past, but whilst I knew them by face, like I know your face, I didn't know the name.
Yeah. But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the phone, the lead and Willow, you were like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right.
I thought somebody had gone to the toilet in the. That would have been my first. I got to about this red brick building here, and
There isn't a toilet there. When family and friends had spoken to this guy about, what did you think? At the time, okay. Then this toilet comment, I was like, well, where is the toilet? Is there even a toilet there? No. Apparently he'd expanded that he thought maybe someone just went into the bushes to the toilet. Okay.
I thought this is not right, and then there was conversation. But my wife was trying to ring me. I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife.
Yeah.
to say that she'd fastened the dog up that was.
And Penny was the lady who actually spotted Willow initially and saw the phone, but didn't know what was going on with the phone.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, you know, what happened?
Well,
what were the next steps?
It was just a progression of things happening. You know, we found out because of the wallpaper on the phone. We found out who the couple were. Then the school was contacted, and Paul arrived.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll let you carry on with your walk. I know you do this every morning.
Yes.
Nicola did this almost every morning as well.
Probably, yeah.
We're retracing those steps this time 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So an important
I know.
juncture. Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay, so he said the name of the caravan park lady, so now I'm gonna say the name, Penny. Finally, it feels very freeing. Okay, so just hang on. We're gonna look at it one more time. Let me tell you who that dude is, because it changes things just a little bit. It gets interesting, okay? The Glera says, hi to the Glera. You say, they have toilets in the bushes in England? I heard they were classy over there. Okay. Do you know who that guy is? This is based on friends of Paul and Nicola that I'm in contact with, and they've been out there, and this is how we even know things about the CCTV and all this kind of stuff, right? So the point is that person, they refer to him as Ron the dog walker. Do you know who he is? You're like, is this Mr. Grumpy? No, Mr. Grumpy, or Penny's husband has died a while ago. Thank you so much. That is actually the person they just spoke to, Penny, the caravan park owner's brother-in-law, which makes it very interesting to think about that, because it isn't the elderly man with a white fluffy dog. We can also see that his dog is off the lead. Just noted that, you know, his dog is off the lead. So now if I go here, yes, this. So what we know from the timeline, let me quickly do this. Let me go one slide back so that you guys can see this. Here we go. What we know. You guys are like, what? That person is Penny's brother-in-law, Penny's sister's husband. Okay? Now, we're going to listen to it again now that you know that. So now, the timeline, right? At 8:43, Nicola walked along the path by the River Wyre, dropping her children off at school. At 8:47, she was seen on the lower field with her dog by someone she knows, which they later said was a female dog walker and not actually the elderly man with the white fluffy dog. At 8:53, she sends an email to her boss on her phone. We do not know what email that was or what she said or anything like that, right? At 8:57, she texted someone whose mortgage she had recently signed off on to arrange a play date for the kids. Then at 9:01, she logs into a Teams call. Thank you so much, Anita. Okay, at 9:10, she was seen on the upper field and Willow was off the lead, no harness, normal for Nicola. Same as the person at 8:47 said, Willow was already running around in the lower field. Whoever saw at 9:10, which was a female dog walker, not the elderly man, said, yes, Willow was off the lead. 9:20, the phone is back on the bench. At 9:30, the Teams call ends, but Nicola stays logged on. And then at 9:33, which is a very specific time, of course, a witness found Willow running between the gate and the bench. And what that caravan park family has told family and friends is that Willow was running between the bench and the stile. And that to the point where Paul thought, well, okay, if she was running between the bench and the stile, let's see if she can get over the stile. So he actually went there and climbed over the stile and said, okay, come Willow, come Willow. And then she struggled a bit, but got through. She got over it. Right? So that's interesting too. So keep all this in mind, because we don't know what happened to Nicola Bulley. We have no idea. But the more we learn, the more we keep our laser beam focus, the more we could maybe figure it out. Even though they say the public knows 5 to 10%, I don't know. I think because we pay so much attention to every little detail and every discrepancy, then it starts looking pretty interesting, right? Maybe we could figure something out. So there's that, right? So Willow was found running between, even the police say between the gate and the bench, but then Penny's brother-in-law had told a friend who was out there on the Saturday after Nicola went missing that Willow was running between the bench and a stile. And then the dog harness was between the bench and the river's edge. And everybody's been asking me lately, what about the lead? There's a lot of questions you guys are asking me that we've already cleared up. So make sure you check out the playlist on this case and go through the timestamps and things that you want to learn there, because we've gone over it. So the harness would normally have the lead attached, apparently, from what I've heard, and that they would just take the harness off Willow, which would still have the lead attached, and just carry it. So the lead is not missing or something, right? Now, police are saying they're very interested in the timeline 9:10 to 9:20. Me personally, I'm very interested in 9:20 to 9:33, right? Because the phone gets placed on the bench at 9:20, and at 9:33, somebody finds the phone and Willow. There's no sign of Nicola, and we thought it was just Penny that found. Thank you so much, Alison. We thought it was just Penny that was out there on her walk and saw, whoa, there's this dog running free and there's a phone on the bench and what's going on here, and then had to go home for an appointment, right? Remember that Willow also has a collar with a tag on it with a name of the vet, and a cell phone number. So the story that they gave to family and friends is that Penny had tried to memorize the number and dialed a few wrong numbers a few times. So there's that, which implies that she left Willow and the phone there and then went back home and tried to remember the number from the collar, right? So there's just, the reason I'm always on about this is I'm not trying to throw a red flag at the caravan park family. I just think that they have critical information which could be very helpful. And maybe they don't know how critical that is. And I must say that from all the reports, from what the brother-in-law says, from what the daughter-in-law says, from what Penny says to the media, none of those stories are matching up. And that's a little bit of a concern for me. Could they maybe all sit on a couch, tell the story? What happened? How did it happen? Why is it so vague? Why is it still so vague? The police as well keep it very, very vague, right? So I'm just still concerned because there might be clues there. There might be answers to this mystery in that, you know? Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard and ethical work from Istanbul. Thank you so much. Girl of Dagestan. Thank you. Okay. Let me quickly see. Dave Monday says, when he said gone to use the toilet, he means caught short. He's being polite. Nothing more. This is nonsense. All right. So I just see here they don't reveal. They just say, oh, Ron, the dog walker. There's just a dog walker. It's not a random dog walker. He lives at the caravan park too. He's Penny's brother-in-law. So finally, someone from the caravan park has spoken. The only thing is, the story is not quite the same. Oh, sorry. Before I play it again, let me just show you this. Never mind that not one of these stories yet has been about Willow being tied up with twine, and yet the elderly man with the white fluffy dog says he saw Penny tying Willow up with twine. So that's interesting too. I'm sure the guy with the white fluffy dog has more to say. Maybe he's scared to say it. I don't know. And also, when he said through his wife, remember his wife spoke to the media, not him. His wife said, yeah, he said everything was normal and there were about 3 people in the field that day, which is why I made this over here. Now, we look at it. Person 1 was a female dog walker, sees Nicola at 8:47 on the lower field, and their dogs interact for a bit. That's what that witness said. That's where it starts, okay? And that's one of the witnesses that can confirm it absolutely was Nicola on the field that day. 877 Swissman says, a little grizzly treat from the Swiss pack, the Swiss grizzly pack. Thank you so much. Okay. So person 1 sees Nicola, lower field, 8:47 a.m. Their dogs interact for a bit. That's that. Person 2, a female dog walker, sees Nicola at 9:10 a.m. Initially, it was said that it's the man with the white fluffy dog that was seeing her lost at that time. But actually, no, it's another female dog walker. Now, who's that? Who is that? You know? But anyway, that person, whoever that is, sees Nicola at 9:10 a.m. Person number 3, an elderly man with a white fluffy dog, sees caravan park lady, Penny, as they said on Sky News, tying Willow up, and says there were about 3 people in the field that day. So if you look at my little colorful silhouettes, we got Penny, we got her daughter-in-law, then we have her sister who lives on the property, and then her brother-in-law. The brother-in-law is the one who just spoke on this interview. So are those the 3 people that were on the field that day? If the elderly man with the white fluffy dog saw Penny tying the dog up, what time was that? What time was that? Truth untold, I don't know the answer to that. I just know that Nicola logged in at 9:01 and that she didn't log off. The team's call had ended at 9:30, but she was still logged on. Okay. So I say number 1 there because now, based on what he's saying, which would be Penny's brother-in-law, he's saying that it's like he found the phone. I mean, he also agrees that yes, Penny found the phone, but it sounds like he saw the phone because he's like, I thought that somebody had just gone off to the toilet. So maybe it was Penny and her brother-in-law on a walk. Maybe person number 2 is Penny. How do we know? How do we know, huh? You see what I'm saying? So are those the 3 people? Because the daughter-in-law is Facebook friends with Nicola. They may have even been messaging each other in the past. We don't know that. However, maybe it was, Penny, her daughter-in-law, and her brother-in-law out there. Or was it Penny, her brother-in-law, and her son? I don't know. About 3 people in the field that day. Okay. Doesn't sound like Nicola, like she was there. So really, what happened between 9:10 and 9:20? Interesting how police are asking for that, isn't it? And then what happened between 9:20 and 9:33? Okay. So let's listen to it one more time now that you know that.
Hey, sir.
Come on
Fine,
through.
do come
How
through.
are you?
No, not at all.
Good to see you.
Do you live here?
Well, it has been like that. So you actually saw the phone, is that right? Yeah.
He saw the phone. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. DB says, was the phone originally found on the bench on the ground? It was found on the bench. There's only one article that says that a pair of people saw it. We've cleared this up before, right? That a pair saw her laughing and joking, and then they talked about the phone on the ground. The phone was found on the bench. The pair that saw her laughing and joking saw her laughing and joking at the school. And I think they just passed on information they heard to whichever media they talked to, which is why that story is a little bit botched. Unless someone else told them that story, then interesting. Okay, so carry on.
You saw the phone that Friday morning?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was around, was it after 9:30?
I gave a full statement to the police with the exact time because my wife's telephone call had the time on it. So, but I've given a full statement to the police.
Was it just on the bench, or?
Pardon?
Was it just on the bench?
The phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's the last 3 weeks been?
Each day something new comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just gonna pause it there. Yeah, he definitely looks like he's. I don't know. It looks a little bit staged, 1, and then number 2, it also looks like maybe he's just like, oh crap. Okay, I just want to go now. So thank you so much, Rob. You say congrats on hitting 128k subs. Thank you so much. Okay, good job, Grizzlies. Thanks for subscribing, everyone. Christina says the pair I understand was Emma and Heather. That's my understanding too, but I don't have 100% confirmation, so I'm not too sure, but that is what I understand as well. Yes?
And in terms of, when you saw Phone, Lead and Willow, who you knew who Nicola was.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you knew Willow, that was it, wasn't it? You knew you knew Willow.
I knew I'd seen both the owners of Willow walking this dog in the past, but whilst I knew them by face, like I know your face, I didn't know the name.
Yeah. But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the phone, the Lead and Willow, you were like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right.
I thought somebody had gone to the toilet in the...
When he says that, it sounds like he's the one who initially spotted Willow and the phone because he thought somebody had gone to the toilet. You know, you wouldn't add that detail if it was Penny who found Willow and the phone, and then, I mean, where does the appointment fit into this? You know what I mean? So then she's like, okay, I'm gonna tie the dog up. I gotta go to an appointment. But then are you leaving the phone there, and no one else is seeing that? But now he sees it, so I think he's the one who saw Willow and the phone, or what? I'm thinking that my initial thought, and I could be wrong, is that Penny was out there walking too. That both of them saw Willow and the phone, right? Kevin says the man with a beard has been there several days. Yes, the reporter, right? Yes. It does sound like that, right? T and Wildflower says it does. This is the brother-in-law, by the way. So Penny and brother-in-law. Maybe Penny, brother-in-law, and sister were out for a walk that day. I don't know. I just think, if so, then damn. Then out of the elderly man, and if all the other three people are belonging to the same, if this is only if, speculation warning. If the three people, you saw about three people in the field that day. If those three people all live at the caravan park, man, do you have any information that could help? Do you know anything? Did you see anything? My goodness, right?
You know, that would have been, that was my first. I got to about this red brick building here, and I thought this is not right. And but then there was a conversation. But my wife was trying to ring me. I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says Penny had rung my wife. His wife is Penny's sister because this is the brother-in-law. So when Penny's story is that she called the daughter-in-law. The daughter-in-law is not this one's wife, right? You're following? If he is the brother-in-law, he is married to Penny's sister. That's what I've also asked the family and friends, right? Okay, so, and they have spoken to him in the past. That's how we know who this guy is, because no one else is saying who this guy is. But I'm like, who is this? Like, is this someone that you spoke to? And it is someone that they had spoken to try to gather more information, to find out, well, what happened? Especially when Paul initially went out there. What happened? Where exactly was Willow found? Where exactly was the harness found? Tell me more things, right? So, yeah, something's off. Just for me, just the conflicting stories is just interesting. I'm not trying to say they did anything, but maybe there was an accident. Maybe they know something. Maybe they're scared to talk. I don't know. But there's another little. I mustn't forget this. Hold on. when I have to not forget things, I write it down here quickly. So there we go. I'll go back to that because that is a red flag to me. Not this family right now, but I'm going to say another one after this. So he says, Penny, listen.
Conversation, but my wife was trying to ring me. I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife.
Yeah.
To say that she'd fastened the dog up. That was.
So Penny had phoned her sister to say she'd fastened the dog up. Okay, so maybe she just called the whole family. She went off to an appointment. She was trying to phone everyone. She phoned her sister. She phoned her daughter-in-law. Like, listen, I've tied a dog up. There's a phone out there. Could you just go check? That could also make sense. Then maybe the daughter-in-law and this guy, the brother-in-law, and maybe even Penny's son or whatever went out there to look. Well, what do you mean? Or like, what's happening there? Right? The way he words it sounds like he's the one who actually found Willow on the phone because he says, well, I thought someone had gone to the toilet maybe. But it could just be that Penny was like, oh my word, okay, here's a dog on the phone. Let me quickly tie the dog up. Now I got to go because I'm going to an appointment. And then she gets a whole house like, guys, I got to go. But there's a phone and a dog out there. Go check. And maybe the people that check, I say, is this guy? I mean, clearly he says he saw the phone. So maybe he went out there. Maybe the daughter-in-law went out there. And we know his wife wasn't out there because he said he was trying to call her and the wife was trying to, they're trying to call each other. So who are the three then? Was the son also there? Whoever it is, do they have more information that could help? What did they see? Was there anything out there at the time? Because they didn't cordon off this bench, as a crime scene ever. So did they see anything? Did they hear anything? Because as I said yesterday, there's village gossip that I'm getting in my inbox. And I'm classing it as village gossip, but there's village gossip that there was a scream or something heard from one of the houses. One of the houses on Allotment Lane heard something. That's the village gossip. Now, if anyone has that information, please call it into police. If you did hear something, apparently the police are not paying too much attention to it because they're like, well, it was after 9:33. But that doesn't matter if it's after 9:33. It could really help, you know? Okay, so yes, Gemma says Penny didn't have a phone apparently. Ashley says has her appointment been checked and verified? Probably by the police. We just don't know.
Penny was the lady who actually spotted Willow initially
right, yes.
and saw the phone, but didn't know what was going on with the
That's
phone.
right, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, you know, what happened?
Well,
what were the next steps?
it was just a progression of things happening. You know,
A progression of things happening, and that is exactly what we want to know. What is that? A progression of things happening from 9:33 until 10:50. That is a long time to make the decision to call the school when Willow's collar has a number on it to call. And apparently, and I stand corrected, but from what I've asked, it's Paul or Nicola's number. Usually, dog tags, you can decide. Do you want your number on it, or do you rather want to keep that private and put the vet's number on it? So it could, I'm going to speculate, it could be the vet's number. The vet's name was on there. But apparently, there was a cell phone number on there that Penny said to the family and friends. She tried to memorize. So when she went back to the house, she was actually trying to call this number, but she just couldn't remember it. Okay? So she can't remember it, and then she's going off to an appointment. Now, when 3 other people are out there, why can one of them not look at the collar and say, oh, there's a number, let's call this number immediately, which could have gone straight to Paul. Right? Yes, this is the thing. Shino Cappuccino. So she could have been abducted and killed after 9:53, or just abducted or anything. If there is village gossip of that, that's why I'm only bringing it to you, not to bring you guys village gossip. I'm hoping that this can inspire someone that if you know something, just know the village is already gossiping. You might as well come forward with it. Call the police. It could really help. It could really help to figure out what the hell happened here.
found out because of the wallpaper on the phone. We found out who the couple were. Then the school was contacted, and Paul arrived.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll let you carry on with your walk. I know you do this every morning.
Yes.
Nicola did this almost every morning as well.
Probably, yeah.
We retrace.
He does it every morning. Nicola does it every morning. He says, yeah, probably, yeah. Okay. So anyway, back to this one quickly. You got it. You memorize it. You screenshot it. If you ever screenshot things from the channel, please just tag me in it. I see some people on Twitter are just loving the screenshots and just running with it as if they've created it themselves. If you could, it would be polite to at least tag me in it, all right? And then I can even, then retweet it. Okay, let me quickly see. Yes, Annie says maybe it was Nicola's number on the tag. Imagine that. If it was Nicola's number on the tag and people went out there and they're like, wait a minute, there's a number, let's call the number. And then Nicola's phone is ringing. But I don't think they're all standing there looking at the phone. You know what I mean? I think if they were standing there all looking at the phone, like, I don't know. I think they picked up the phone because the way it shows, like, yeah, with the phone. We saw the screensaver and we recognized the couple. I mean, I also think that it would probably be a picture of Nicola and Paul and the kids, right? There's probably a screensaver. But anyway, they recognize the couple and he's showing it like this. So they picked up the phone. For a little bit, I thought, what if maybe they took Willow and the phone to the house and then we're all like fussing about and whatever. And they're like, ooh, okay, we don't know what's going on here. So let's just take Willow and the phone back. That's also a possibility. I don't know. But man, the vagueness of the 9:33 to 10:50, which is a very important time. Never mind the 9:10 to 9:20 that police are looking for. Huh? You know what I mean? Okay. Barbara Beard says they all knew something was wrong. Thank you. Yes. He says, I thought something was wrong. I think I've got one more thing after this. Okay. So Nicola's usual timeline. Paul said in his interview that she usually gets home at 9:45 or maybe 10, right? Okay. So we're going to work backwards from there. Bushwhacker says one reason the water search would change. A person in high risk can have a huge wave of calm upon them. Nicola may have calmly walked into the river, lay back and float. I truly hope not. That's still going to be really difficult to drown then, right? But they say she went into the water. So maybe. Thank you so much for that. So Nicola's usual timeline, she usually got home between 9:45 and 10. So I worked it backwards, looking at their address and Maptime and all that, right? So that means she'd need to leave the school parking lot around 9:35 a.m. because it's an 8 to 9 minute drive home. Then, if we work it back more, it's about a 3-minute walk from the entrance of the towpath, which is on Blackpool Lane, which the police are calling Garstang. It's where they need the dash cam footage. We've looked at that on Maptime in the last stream as well, in many streams. Thank you so much. So, yeah, this is the other question. Very important question. Did any of them hear Nicola's phone when Paul tried calling her? Exactly. Why are they not answering the calls between 10:30 and 10:50? Kevin says, who first called the police? Paul did. They called the school called Paul, and Paul called the police. Okay, so getting home around 9:45 to 10, would need to leave the school parking lot around 9:35, which means she'd be at that tow path entrance there at around 9:34, which means she'd need to leave the bench area around 9:30. So thinking about that, when they say, usually they'd walk Willow and then put Willow's harness back on around the lower field area, right by the kissing gate, and then leave, not necessarily by the bench. But if she wasn't walking Willow with Paul, if she was just, I just mean maybe no one knows exactly what her routine was when she's there by herself, and especially on a Friday, logging into the usual Friday Teams call, then, okay, maybe she sits at the bench from 9:20 to 9:30 usually. Because from 9:10 being seen on the upper field to walk down like that to the bench would take approximately 10 minutes, depending on how many loops you're doing or what you're doing, but around 10 minutes. So that means she would usually be back at the bench around 9:20. So as I say, on this day, Nicola was on the upper field at 9:10. The phone was placed on the bench at 9:20. Maybe she planned to sit there for 10 minutes before making her way back. What happened? And that's what I want to know. What happened? And especially with Willow running between the bench and the stile, according to Penny's brother-in-law, is what they had told family and friends who were out there on Saturday after Nicola went missing to find out more, to take Willow back out there to see how she would act. They had told them that Willow was running between the bench and the stile. That is interesting. Then what happened to Nicola? Did she go over the stile? But however, when Paul did the exercise and climbed over the stile and said, come Willow, come Willow, she struggled a little bit and then she went over. So she is able to get over. Okay. Kerry Koo says, why aren't or haven't the police been asking these questions? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's the thing. It must be the menopause, right? Oh, man. Okay, so let's just see. What else do I have here? I think that's it for this slide today. Yes. Okay. We got that. So now let's go back here. We've got a few things to look at. Let me first show you this. Nicola Bulley's dad says every day is a struggle as he hopes for breakthrough. Nicola Bulley's dad says the family are waiting for a breakthrough as today marks 3 weeks since she went missing. And it does. Today marks 3 weeks, you guys. Nicola, okay, so the mortgage advisor was last seen on January 27th while walking a Springer Spaniel Willow in the village of St. Michael's on Wyre in Lancashire. Police launched a massive search for the mum using drones, dogs, and specialist divers and expanding more than 13 miles to Morecambe Bay. Ernie Bulley, 73, says every day is a struggle as the family are desperate for answers. It comes one day after Nicola's family released a heartbreaking, directly appeal to the mum saying not to be scared as her girls want a cuddle. Don't be scared. Your girls want a cuddle. Today, Ernie told Sky News every day is a struggle. We're no further on from 3 weeks ago. We just need a breakthrough to give us some hope. It comes after Nicola's sister shared a sunny snap of herself with Nicola and their mum, Dot, 72, on her Facebook wall today. She wrote, 3 weeks today without you home. We all miss you so much. Time to come home now. I just want to see if it's there. All right. Yesterday, her parents returned to a bridge near the scene where she vanished and told their daughter, we pray every day for you. 2 new messages had been, they've got the picture. 2 new messages had been penned on yellow ribbons of hope attached to a bridge near the footpath where Nicola was last seen. They were left by Nicola's parents, Ernie and Dot, and her younger sister, Louise. Here, 3 weeks today without you home. We all miss you so much. Time to come home now. The message from her parents read, "We pray every day for you. Love you, Mum and Dad." Another from her sister said, "Nikki, please come home. I love you, Lou." This week, police held a press conference where, and we know all about that, right? They talked about the specific vulnerabilities and all of that. So, yes, we'll get more into that in a moment. What I do want to say, I want to nip this rumor right now in the bud. So, Bushwhacker says, I'll get to the rumor now. Willow may have been in protection mode. She wanted to get help but didn't want to leave Nicola. Maybe, could be. Could be as well. Okay, so there is a rumor brewing based on public information about Paul's companies. We've gone through that before. He's had 4 companies since 2014. 2 had a voluntary strike off. 1 has had a notice of a compulsory strike off. The notice was apparently served, or however you call it, given sometime in December, and then it would be reviewed around the 7th of February. So a lot of people are looking at that. But what people are also looking at is they are on the same site searching for other family members' names. And they have found that where the one business that is actually already a strike off was registered is number 3 something something. At number 2 something something, there's a Louise Bulley with a business registered there. But what I've seen from some deep diving and asking family and friends, people who screenshot that, they don't screenshot the whole thing to show who that Louise Bulley is married to. And that debunks the whole thing. It's not Nicola's sister that has a business right next to the address where Paul once registered a business. Okay? A strike off, it's like a closure. Business, let me not botch it, strike off. Okay. A company goes for strike off when the management no longer wishes to carry on the business further. Strike off means removing the name of the company from the registrar of the company. So that's what that is, right? I'm not too sure why this one, the latest one, which is one where Paul and Nicola were both listed as directors, had a compulsory strike off. It's different to the other voluntary one. I don't know, but I do think, I'll tell you now, NC says, "Gee, your brilliance is priceless. You give families hope." Thank you so much. I do think it's important, if the police are going to factor in menopause and alcohol struggles, which they've known from day one. Just remember, it's not Paul that has now come forward and be like, "Okay, let's run with this information. Let's say this." It's not him. It's the police. They've had it from day one. She was a high-risk missing person from day one. They chose not to reveal that to anyone. And then at the press conference said, "We can't say anything." And then 2 hours later told the whole mainstream news, which I thought was quite savage. It was quite savage and concerning. So we're going to play a video to address that in a moment. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure, if you see, I could just see, I generally know when there's a storm brewing. You could see it online when, people start saying things on Twitter and Facebook, and it starts brewing. The people are going to say that Paul and Louise, there's something going on with them because they've got businesses registered right next to each other, and then the 2 of them are this and this, and she moved in to help with the kid. It's horrible. It's not Days of Our Lives. This is not a soapy, It's not a plot twist. It's not fun. It's real life with a missing mom who's a high-risk missing person. And no matter what, she's missing. I've never in my life, it doesn't even cross my mind. If someone's like, "Ooh, but she was struggling with something," why is that? What difference does that make? You know what I mean? She's still a missing person. Can we look for her? Great. Even more so to tell the public from day one so that they can actually keep their eyes peeled for her. Yes. Okay. So let's have a look what you guys are saying. Okay. Blame-free channel, yes. President of the internet said, "UK lawyers, you must put the owner's telephone number on a dog collar." Good to know. Good to know. Okay. So let me show you this. Hold on one second, please. Okay, I'm going to show you a video from Laura Richards now. I have her permission to show this. If you don't know who Laura Richards is, she's got a channel called Crime Analyst. She has a podcast of the same name, Crime Analyst. And Laura is an award-winning criminal behavioral analyst, former New Scotland Yard, and an international expert on domestic abuse, coercive control, stalking, sexual violence, homicide, and risk assessment. Now, she's been making some TikTok. She's got a TikTok too on this case as well, and video updates too on her channel now, Crime Analyst. So please go over there and subscribe and say you're from Grizzly True Crime. Show lots of support, because what a nice, calm voice of reason, much needed in times like this, just to regather the focus, which is what I've been trying to do, is just like, let's laser beam focus. But the way that Laura says it, and with all her tremendous experience, I hope that it has an impact, that you guys hear her out. Let me play it like this. Okay. So we're going to listen to this. I'm going to put it on 1.25 speed just to help us a little bit with the time. If it sounds too weird, I'll put it back to normal speed, okay? But thank you so much to Laura Richards for permission to show this. It's an absolute honor. Right on Josephine says, point out one person who's not struggling with any single... Exactly. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's play this. And I will link this video as well. Everything is in the description box, and I'll link this specific video for you as well afterwards. All right?
Welcome back to Crime Analyst in the Intelligence Cell. Now, I decided that I'm going to do an update on the Nicola Bulley case. The reason being is that I've talked about the case consistently from the first week that Nicola went missing, and there are some updates of sorts. And I think it's really important to still continue to talk about Nicola, because almost 3 weeks on, she's still missing, and her children and her family desperately miss her. And it's important that we talk about cases like this, because most oftentimes it's the public that solve them. So those people saying, well, why talk about the case? And it's important to, and the police do need to use the public to...
Yes. Thank you. You know, when people are like, why are you still talking about this case? Why? It's important to. My word, I just love it. I think this lady, she's my role model. Okay, let's carry on. Sorry for interrupting there.
To solve cases and resolve cases. The media have always played a key role. I knew that when I worked at New Scotland Yard. So that's not unusual, but I think the level of media interest now is unusual in the case, and that's causing some problems for the investigation and for the investigative team. And I have some sympathy for that, but I'm going to come back to that. Because firstly, I just want to tell you about what happened at the press conference. And I did stay up. I did want to watch it, because I did wonder what key information might be imparted. And well, firstly, it was at police headquarters, at Lancashire Police Headquarters. There was Assistant Chief Constable Peter Lawson, who spoke. There was also Detective Superintendent Rebecca Smith, who also...
Okay, I think it's a little sped up, you guys. I think Laura speaks quite fast like me, huh? Okay, I'm glad the sound is great. So let's carry on.
Spoke at the conference, and there were a lot of media there too. Now, what was basically said, I'm going to share with you what was said and just some of my thoughts and concerns about where we are currently. So firstly, they talked about the investigation and the scale of it, and there have been some distractions, and that's been unhelpful, but the scale of it, that 1,500 pieces of information have been logged, 300 premises have been searched, 300 people had been spoken with. So again, as I always say, you know, the scale of it is huge, and there are now 40 detectives working on it, but are they busy with the right things? That was always something a detective chief superintendent used to say to me. You might be busy, but are you busy with the right things? So are the right questions being asked? Is the right information and tasks being put out into the public to get the right information back? Well, there's still questions about that. And what they did share was that they have had specialist search teams in. We know that they had Peter Fording in finally at the behest of the family, who did all the underwater searches with sonar and so forth. And he said that she was not in that stretch of river where the police...
Okay. So let me say this: the cropped photos on the CCTV footage. Okay, that's cropped. It's just to zoom in on Nicola so that we could see. Okay, that's Nicola. That's what she was wearing. That's when she was last seen on camera, right? The thing is that if you watched, I haven't watched the full CCTV footage, but the friends that I'm in contact with have, and they say it's important to know that Paul did help load the car that day. He is in the footage. He's on the passenger side of the car. It's just that they zoomed in on those pictures so that we could see what she looks like right there in that day, okay?
believe that she may have gone into the water. And in some parts of that water by the bench, it's 1 foot deep with stone. So the belief is that the river wasn't flooded at the time and there was very little movement. So it would have been very difficult for her body to have moved in 10 minutes to go downstream. It is tidal and to go out into the sea. So they had brought in underwater divers and search teams, also police drones and tidal and environmental experts. So that's important. They have put resources into Nicola's case. But also the question that I have was, when did all of this happen? Okay, because the first 72 hours, as I've said before, are really critical in a case like this. And what we learned today from the briefing when Detective Superintendent Rebecca Smith took over was that she is the Senior Investigating Officer, the SIO. So I had questions about, well, who is actually in overall charge, and whether Nicola had been designated a high-risk missing person. And that was answered today, that yes, she was designated a high-risk missing person. And with that comes resources. So once someone's designated as high risk, a senior investigating officer is appointed. So Detective Superintendent Rebecca Smith was appointed on the Monday. However, let's not forget it was on the Friday that Nicola went missing. So there is a time gap for me of 3 days. And I want to come back to that. Those 72 hours are absolutely key, putting out timely, accurate information. And that's when the starburst happens, when you get busy. You want it to be in people's minds and thoughts, jogging their minds and their memories at the time where these things are happening. And that's when you actually have a realistic prospect of finding the person that's missing, Nicola in this case. So what Detective Superintendent Rebecca Smith said was that it was her working hypothesis from early on that Nicola went into the water. She didn't explain why, but she did say that she was keeping an open mind, that Nicola could have taken herself off, there could be a third party involvement, but her main working hypothesis was that she was in the water. The problem with those two statements, my working hypothesis is, and I'm keeping an open mind, is they fight each other. And I believe that that's what has led to a lot of speculation, because there's no evidence to corroborate that hypothesis, along with saying that she believed that Nicola didn't leave the area and that they believed there was no third party involvement. When you make those three statements, of course, people are interested in what the evidence is to support that, particularly when we know now that there were blind spots on the CCTV. So that's a problem when you're saying that you believe someone's still in an area and 3 weeks on, you still have found no sign of them. There's no car key, there's no hairband, there's no anything that belongs to Nicola to say that she's still in that area. There was the phone, of course, which was found on the bench, and Detective Superintendent Smith said that phone, the phone data had been looked at and analysed, and it corroborated the movements, Nicola's movements. Of course, there was a witness at 9:10 who knew Nicola and saw Nicola. So it wasn't just believed to be Nicola, it was Nicola at 9:10. That was the last sighting in the upper field. So the upper field has been a area of focus, and Detective Superintendent Smith talked about that, and the focus now is on the river path to the Garston Road, and I've talked about that before. That's where they're appealing for dash cam footage. So if you are a driver that was on that Garston Road and you have dash cam footage, the police are interested in that. They want positive responses only, and I'll remind people of that at the end. So phone data was talked about, the Fitbit data was talked about, that I'm very interested in. I did find out from a colleague, Suzanne Baum, that Paul Ansell, her husband, had given her the most up-to-date Fitbit. She was wearing it. She was given that at Christmas. Now,
That we didn't know. We didn't know that before. That Paul gave Nicola the Fitbit for Christmas. So it's a new model of Fitbit, because that's also been, people have been asking. Although it was last synced 3 days before Nicola went missing, on Tuesday. She went missing on Friday, the 27th of January. On the Tuesday was the last time it's synchronized with her phone. So, not sure why. Also, for everyone asking, I don't even know why that rumor started that Nicola did not stay at home the night before she went missing, because that's not just twisting her own dad's words. He explained exactly what happened. So, according to what I know, and according to what her dad said, no.
Now, it wasn't synced to the phone and hadn't been for a few days, but I do believe that between 5 and 7 days, you can still get data. It still transmits. I don't know if that's the case here. And the detective superintendent said that they didn't get any further information from it. But she did talk about social media. That's obviously another really critical line of investigation. Those of you who know about my deconstruction of Gabby Petito's case, 20 parts, and I started off analysing her social media. It gives us...
You see, we think the same. Even the Gabby Petito case, that's what we were doing on this channel too, analysing Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito's social media. Social media does leave clues. So this is the Crime Analyst podcast. I would recommend going to follow that podcast as well and soak up all this good content. I will show you Laura's channel after this video.
Clues about someone's lifestyle, about their victimology, about their state of mind. So that's important. So they said that they've taken control of her social media, so don't be alarmed if it looks different. So there's still lines of investigation. She talked about the red van that they're still trying to locate, the fisherman they're still trying to locate, the glove that was found that doesn't have significance to the investigation, the abandoned house that had been searched, the caravan park that had been searched. So she was being very clear in her communication about lines of investigation and lines of inquiry that they were still pursuing, but still saying at the same time that she didn't believe that Nicola had come to harm at the hands of someone else. So, and the fact that it's still not being treated as a crime. Well, what was interesting to me was that she talked about Nicola being designated a high-risk missing person from the start. Now, that's what I was interested in. And that's what I wondered, whether that had happened. We found out that on the Friday when Paul reported her missing, that she was deemed high risk, but the SIO appointment didn't happen till the Monday. Why not? I don't know the answer to
that. Is such a good question. Why? What was the delay when someone is missing and high risk and all of that? Because they had the information from day one. From 11:25 a.m., they were already at Paul and Nikki's house gathering information. And this would be a high risk missing person case based on all the information they learned there. But they were like, right, see you on Monday. Why? Why? That is such a good question as well.
To that, but I'm saying that 72 window is critical, and information could have been given out to the public. A picture of what she was wearing, for example, that they were the critical windows of time. That's 72 hours.
And the police never released this. We have not seen. Normally, the police would release this. This was Emma that released these pictures. You see, I just feel like social media, while the police have been, I don't know what to call it, upset with social media and all of that. I get, like, don't trespass. Don't just take selfies. I get that. But social media can be such a helpful tool. And I mean, this footage, this picture was released. These pictures were released by Emma. Because it said Emma White at the bottom. Apparently, Emma's dad is quite a powerful dude in the media. And so maybe that's why she released it to, the media connections that they have. Like, okay, we need to get this out there. All right.
And if she was designated high risk, why? Well, what I was particularly interested in, as were many, many other people, was the fact that Detective Superintendent Smith said that she had vulnerabilities. Now, that can mean lots of different things. I was training this morning, actually, professionals on coercive control, and I talked about vulnerabilities and how vulnerabilities of a victim can be used against them. And it could be as simple as you're in grief. Someone close to you has died. It could be a myriad of things. What Detective Superintendent Smith said, she was not going to share that information because it was private. And that is quite right too. The challenge is, once something like that is said, people latch onto it and they need to know and they want to know. And she said multiple times she was not going to share that information. Now, also, she didn't share why she still believes that Nicola is in the water when there's been an underwater search, when there's been sonar and so on. There was no further information about why she believed that Nicola hadn't come to harm at the hands of somebody else, or why she believed that she was still in that area. There was no further information. Now, to me, that sounds like speculation, and to lots of other people it does too. And the problem is that then you fuel the fire again and people start mistrusting those statements unless there's something to corroborate.
Exactly. Good points, right? Good points. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Truth Untold says, so the pictures haven't been verified then? Well, the police did mention it in, I think it was the second press conference, like we have CCTV. So they do have it, and in that way, I suppose that would be a way of verifying it. But yeah, from the friends of the family that I've spoken to, they have seen the footage and they're like, oh, that's her. That's Nikki. That's Nicola.
And back it up. Now, Detective Superintendent Smith also talked about armchair detectives and how I could see her frustration, even when she was talking about it, how they had distracted and detracted from the investigation. And I would just say that you have to tread carefully in this area because, yes, the police don't need to be distracted with TikTokers and things like that going on and negative things going on online that they then have to investigate. They need to be focused on the investigation. And I have a huge amount of empathy for that. But at the same time, you also need the public on side. And it's a very fine line, particularly with an investigation of this scale and size that has blown up, really. And people want to hear more information and they're under pressure. And I could see that Detective Superintendent Smith was under pressure. And it's unfortunate because it comes across as being defensive and almost talking through your teeth and being irritated and bristly and testy and annoyed. And that can detract too.
And snarkily, right?
But when you're working long hours, when you're being called to account for things that you don't believe that you should have to, that can create tensions. And I think that often when you speculate yourself, but you tell other people not to, unfortunately, people are then mirroring you and your behavior. And I do believe that it was unnecessary to tell us about the working hypothesis. We don't need to know. The public don't need to know. Perhaps it was unwise to share the information about Nicola's vulnerabilities, because what basically happened at the end of the press conference was that journalists were asking about that. They were also asking about whether she wore earbuds, and it was confirmed that she wasn't wearing earbuds at the time, that she would walk along with the phone and that connected to the call and would just be listening, no camera, but just listening to the call. So those were a few things that were cleared up, but the vulnerabilities has been a problem, mentioning that and sharing that information. And I want to share with you what happened after the press conference, which in my experience is unprecedented. The police made another statement about those vulnerabilities, and I want to share with you what they said. And I'm going to read it.
Okay, everybody get your notebooks out. Are you loving this or what? I'm watching this for like the third time. Please go to this video. It's on the channel called Crime Analyst, which we are sharing throughout the stream here. Laura Richards' channel, Crime Analyst. Go subscribe there. Say that Grizzly True Crime sent you. You're a grizzly, whatever you want to say. Put those bear emojis there. Say hi to Laura, show lots of love. And please watch the video there because I'd love for her to get the views. Even though I have permission to share it here, if you wouldn't mind just going on there and watching the video there too. Even if it's at 1.5 speed, it helps, right? Tamara says, Tamara Ransom, love you and your show. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's listen to this.
For you. They said Nicola in the past suffered with some significant issues with alcohol, which were brought on by her ongoing struggles with the menopause, and that those struggles had resurfaced over recent months. This caused some real challenges for Paul and the family. Now, that statement and the framing is concerning for me. And I'm uncomfortable with it because the headlines have since screamed that Nicola has alcohol issues and is menopausal. And quickly we can get into framing victims through that lens that they're unstable, and it can be used against them. There is nothing to suggest that she took herself into the water. And yes, her sister raised the question about did she take herself off, but her mother and father said she was in a good state of mind. And given that she was on a work call, given that she had texted a friend about a play date, given the fact she had emailed her boss, these are all indicators of someone being present in their life. And yes, we all go through difficulties at times, but I don't believe this information needs to be in the public domain. And my question is, if it was relevant to the investigation, why wasn't it something that was put out within the first 72 hours? Why wasn't it used? Because then if it were used at that time, perhaps there was a chance that it could have actually helped find Nicola. But to release that information now, I don't believe that that was wise to do. I think it feels victim blaming. It feels like.
And we're hearing this from an expert, you guys. So this is this is what I've been saying, but how much more impactful from an expert. It's just so nice to hear. It's very calming, very soothing. Yes, that's the concern, is that this can quickly go to victim blaming. It feels like the police are like, okay, we're just going to 3 weeks later just release this information. First, we're not going to say it with our face. We're not going to be at the press conference saying it. We're going to just do the press conference, say we can't really elaborate. And then 2 hours later, all of mainstream news will have it as headline just everywhere. I mean, I feel so bad for her, for Nicola, firstly. If she had for any reason left voluntarily and is hiding somewhere, and now there's a huge buzz about this. I'm going to paraphrase just based on how the police did it. It's like this drunk menopausal woman. Can you imagine how much more shame she would feel now? If she's seeing this, like, oh crap, like what the hell? It just feels scary. And so the concern is the victim blaming, the way that it was done. It was like this hype, and then of like, no, we can't say, and then boom, there it is. Oh man.
She's being framed as being unstable and unreliable and discredits her. And I also wonder about, I saw this when I was in the police, mental health. As soon as someone believes it to be a mental health issue, sometimes police officers disengage. And I wonder what happened on that Friday when that information was imparted to them, of how that was then treated. It was designated a high-risk case, but what actually happened from the Friday to the Monday to show that resources matched that designation? And I can't answer other than to say that that stretch of river was searched by underwater divers, but I can't talk to other things that happened. Certainly there wasn't a public appeal for information. And for me, that's when that information probably would have been most useful. But I feel that this is a breach of Nicola's privacy. That's my own opinion. I don't believe that we needed to know about it. I also don't believe we needed to know about the working hypothesis. There are reasons why police keep some information to themselves. Other times they need to be accountable and transparent. But why further fan the flames that you are critical of being fanned? And yet, some might say, well, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But if you're calling out other people's behavior for speculating, it's best not to speculate yourself or release information.
Wasn't that just so well said? If you're going to be upset with social media and the public speculating, then it's best not to speculate yourself, because the entire primary working hypothesis is not based on evidence. There's no evidence to say that Nicola went into the river. If they have evidence, like finding car keys in the river or the Fitbit floating around or something like that, then they should say that. But they haven't said that. There's no evidence to support that. There's no evidence to support any of the plausible scenarios in this case, which is why it's important to continue to share, even though it's 21 days, it's 3 weeks now, 3 weeks today since Nicola Bulley went missing. That is an excruciatingly long time for her family and friends. Man, so even so, where people say, oh, well, it's been so long now, maybe you see that maybe she's no longer with us. We don't know that. She could have been abducted. She could have left voluntarily, and is hiding somewhere. You just don't know. So please do keep on being kind to Nicola, to her family, to her friends, sharing her case. You can use the hashtag Nicola Bulley.
Like this, that really has no business being in the public domain, particularly 3 weeks down the line. So that's why I said on social media that I feel uncomfortable about that information being released now, because we know a lot of women get blamed. We've seen numerous headlines. We saw it with Emma and Letty Patterson's case, shot dead by George Patterson. And
did you guys follow this case? I was following it. I haven't shared it on my channel, but oh my word. This also happened in the UK. And they first said there's no third party involvement, kind of like nothing to see here. But then it turned out that the husband, it was a murder-suicide. He shot his wife and daughter and then himself. Oh my gosh. So listen to this.
The question in the mail was whether her high-powered job as a headmistress overshadowed him. Is that why he killed them? Well, no, that's not why he killed them. So we can very quickly get into victim blame, and that's to be avoided at all costs. So I want to keep this short and sweet. I do think the police have got a big job ahead of them. We do need to help them. And by not going up there and TikToking and all that nonsense, by not creating more work for them, but by being diligent, if there's information we can share, if we do have dash cam footage, then please do. This is a live, ongoing investigation. They do need the public's help. And we're still, well, I want to know where Nicola is, and I know her family do, her 2 little girls do. So where is Nicola Bulley? Can you help? If you can, please email the investigation email that's been put together for this inquiry. So I'm thinking about Nicola and I'm thinking about her family. So until next time, be curious, ask questions, and always trust your instinct.
Be curious, ask questions, and always trust your instinct. Very nice. Okay, you guys. So the case of Nicola Bulley press conference breakdown. This is the video. I'm going to put it in the chat here. I'm definitely going to put it in the comments as well after to pin it. And please go over here and subscribe. I'm going to quickly refresh to see how many of you guys are here. 3.62. Everybody go there. There's 6,800 people here right now. How amazing would it be if you went to subscribe there? Let me quickly just check the channel. I just want to see just the videos here. Just hold on one second. I want to find this other video. Where is it? Is it this one? Wait, there's the case of Nicola Bulley. There was also one that someone sent me. There's like a press conference breakdown as well. Just hold on. There it is. Okay, there it is. This one is called the press conference breakdown. So I'm sure you guys would be interested in that as well. If you missed what I said earlier about who Laura Richards is an award-winning criminal behavioral analyst, former New Scotland Yard, and an international expert on domestic abuse, coercive control, stalking, sexual violence, homicide, and risk assessment. Laura trained at New Scotland Yard and the FBI Behavioral Analysis Units and is an advocate for victims and an author, producer, and podcaster. Laura has a BSc in psychology and sociology and an MSc in forensic and legal psychology. So you can go and check this out, this channel out. Crime Analyst. Thank you, mods, for sharing the link. It's really appreciated. And thanks to Nightbot too for sharing the link. And thank you so much to Laura for giving me permission to share that with my audience, because I just found Laura's expertise and her message just so calming. It's really the calm in the storm right now. There's a lot of tension, between social media, the public, police, all kinds of things happening. And Laura just helps to rein that in and be like, focus, everyone, focus. Just remember what this is all about. So I thought that was really, really good as well. Okay, so let's see what else I got for you. There are some things I just want to quickly see. So we've seen the dogwalker one. Now, remember, you guys didn't remind me that I wrote something down here for you. I wrote down the red van thing. So do you guys remember that a guy called Dennis came forward, Dennis Rowlandson? He came forward, spoke to the Sun, and said, at this barn on Hall Lane, he saw a tatty or shabby red van, and he knew whoever was there was up to no good, that he knows no one with a tatty or shabby red van. For me, that was 2 weeks later when he came forward and said this. And after some more digging, his own family has 2 tatty red vans. And so the friend of Paul and Nicholas that I'm in contact with went for a little drive-by earlier just to check, is that red van still there? And it belongs to a gun club, and it's there. The red van is there. He owns the company, and the red van is right there. Red van, not the red van. Tatty red van is right there. So for him to come forward and say, yep, I don't know anyone with a red van, and whoever was out at that barn, they're up to no good. He says he rents out the barn. That whole story to me is still like weird, right? Very, very strange. So to me, that's a little bit of a red flag. I don't know what's going on there with the gun club and the two tatty red vans that they have associated to the gun club, and why this guy came forward. We have to look at that sometimes. Who's coming forward and inserting themselves in the case, and why he's coming forward to say he doesn't know anyone with the red van. And they were out at this barn, and we know people have been chased away from the barn and all kinds of other stories. So very, very interesting, right? Okay. So we've got that. Then let's just, they say, I'm not going to play this down. They just say the police were forced to release sensitive HRT, hormone replacement therapy, menopausal information. Forced, you guys. Somebody forced their hand, right? So let's just look at this. Here they say this former police officer, I believe, let's just quickly, breaking, okay, Nicola Bulley, yes, family. I don't know his name, but he's sharing he worries about the kids. And that is a worry. It feels like even releasing this information, especially the way it was done like that, I worry about her kids, you know. Even if the other kids are hearing all this and, I don't know, teasing them, or if they're just like, wait, what? You know, it's quite something. Bushwhacker, maybe give the officer in charge some space to breathe. She didn't make this mess. It was the police media. It was the police media section, the gray suits. She may be as frustrated as us, yet the system in her back. You never know. Thank you, Bushwhacker.
From what the superintendent said today, the things that I would expect to have been done are being done. And she's pointed out that I think
we need a bit of a boost here. That's sounding a little bit soft.
Messaging, as I said before, is what has caused this. If your messaging is, I am giving weight to all three of these hypotheses and not one is favoured in the other because I don't have the evidence to push it into one, then you wouldn't even need to mention vulnerabilities. And I think possibly she's mentioned that under pressure in that conference, realised that the family haven't been briefed on that she was going to say that, hence why you've then had a second one. Because anything that you say as an SIO in front of the press, whether it's an appeal or something of that nature, you run it always past the family first. So there are no surprises.
So your belief today is that Nicola Bulley's family, who have suffered already unbelievably in the last 3 weeks, would have been blindsided by the press conference this morning.
It's one possibility.
But that is mishandling the situation, isn't it?
I think it was a bit of pressure that probably hasn't been seen like that for an SIO for quite a long time, and perhaps that's the reaction.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a reaction to all the pressure. I mean, that's why yesterday we talked about pressure and how one handles pressure, right? I just want to find this one thing just quickly. So we've looked at that one. Where the heck is this article that I have for you guys? Forced. Oh yeah, this one. This is an update too. So here they say Nicola Bulley, Home Secretary, asked police to explain health disclosures. Okay, so the police are a little bit in trouble here, I think. The Home Secretary has raised concerns with police after they revealed personal information about missing mother Nicola Bulley. The 45-year-old disappeared on the 27th of January during a riverside dog walk in St. Michael's on Wyre in Lancashire. Lancashire police, who have been searching for her for 3 weeks, were criticized for making her struggles with alcohol and the menopause public. A source close to Suella Braverman said she had asked for an explanation. They said the Home Secretary had received a response on Thursday evening, but was not wholly satisfied with the force's justification for releasing the personal details. However, an aide stressed the decision was a matter for Lancashire police. Thank you so much, Obsessed for Disneyland. Ziggy says, new SIO incoming. I don't know. We'll have to watch, right? I'm afraid this is the biggest. So they say, if it was relevant, it needed to be in a public domain at the start, and it wasn't, she said. I'm afraid this is the biggest error that I have seen for quite a long time. It's going to undermine trust in the police yet further. She said she did not believe similar comments would have been shared if Miss Bulley had been a man. Would we have the police officer saying, he's unfortunately tied down with alcohol because he's been suffering from erectile dysfunction for the last few weeks? I think not. No, it is a dreadful error to put this in the public domain for absolutely nothing, and I'm afraid I think it's as sexist as it comes. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, told LBC's Nick Ferrari it would be a rare thing for his force to comment about the vulnerabilities of a woman in a high-profile missing persons case, but declined to say if he would have told the public of Miss Bulley's struggle because he did not have all the facts to hand. We need to release the information that helps find somebody, and Lancashire have made that call, and time will tell whether they have got it right or wrong, he said. He added that the Met would be ready to help the investigation into Miss Bulley's disappearance if asked. In a statement released on Wednesday, Lancashire police said Miss Bulley had suffered with some significant issues with alcohol and ongoing struggles with the menopause. This prompted a backlash from campaigners, MPs, and legal experts, with some accusing the police of breaching her privacy. Miss Bulley's family later released a statement released via the police in which they elaborated on her health, saying she had suffered significant side effects due to the perimenopause, including brain fog and restless sleep. They also asked for speculation surrounding her private life to end and urged the public to focus on finding their wonderful daughter, sister, partner, and mother. Addressing Miss Bulley directly, they added, "Nikki, we hope you are reading this and know that we love you so much and your girls want to cuddle. We all need you home. Don't be scared. We all love you so very much." Wyre Council leader Michael Vincent said the case was clearly unprecedented and it was right there is an inquiry into the way the police have handled this, but from my understanding, their handling of the actual investigation has been very good. They've been in regular contact with the family, who are the people who actually need the information, he added. Okay, but they're the ones who gave the information on day one. I'm just saying. Lancashire Police said it had referred itself to the Independent Office for Police Conduct over contact it had with Miss Bulley before she vanished, which I believe that is standard procedure. It said it had been called to a report of a concern for welfare on the 10th of January when officers and health professionals visited her home. So just know that a family member would have had to probably make that call unless it was a neighbor or something, but there was a call for welfare on the 10th of January. The force said the referral only related to the force's interaction with the family on that date and not the wider missing person investigation. The IOPC said it was assessing the available information to determine whether an investigation was required. Miss Bulley disappeared while walking her Springer Spaniel Willow after dropping off her 2 daughters at school. Her phone was found still connected to a work conference call. Police and specialist teams have since mounted a huge search, but no trace of her has been found. Amelia says they should have said at the start that she was suffering from life stresses and got it out of the way without details. Agree with home sec about man's ED, right? They probably wouldn't say that. I just mean if brain fog and restlessness and perimenopause, and if there are any alcohol issues, if that's a factor, then I think a more important stress factor, based on what I can see, could be a financial one. Could be. I just mean, wow, if you want to go that angle, it feels very victim blaming, as we've said. Okay, so focusing on what's important to focus on is, of course, do you want to see Peter Folding as well? Let's just see quickly. He said, okay, so I'll just give you the update. He just said there are egos playing here, said Peter Folding. Okay, so let's look at this map quickly one more time. Let's have a quick map time just to remind us what we need to share, what we need to focus on. Okay, so we've got this going on here. There we go. So one more time, let's look at the map. This is the barn, by the way. If we look at, here's the school, and Nicola would be walking this way to go on this towpath. This is where the Grapes pub is, where there's CCTV footage, so they know that Nicola didn't exit here and go this way because this CCTV would have picked her up. But if Nicola had turned left, for instance, there's a blind spot all the way here. They don't have, this is where they're looking for dash cam footage, just so that we're all clear on that. They call it Garstang, and on some maps it's actually Garstang. That's the confusing part, right? Okay, so that's the confusing part. I just want to quickly deal with this. Bushwhacker says Nicola had a drink and liked it. Why is this the issue? Key focus is a person who has kids and family that love her, needs us, whether it the public budget leaves me SS and confused. Shaking your head, right? Yes, it's not important. The important thing is Nicola is missing. And if it was so important, share it on day one. This is a high risk missing person case. You know, we don't know what mental state she was in. If she's suffering from brain fog and restlessness and things, we don't know if she's wandering around somewhere for all we know. People need to keep their eyes peeled in case she is, right? K8R says, are you going to drive today? So the thing is, that barn, by the way, with that Dennis guy that owns the gun club, and he said he saw a tatty red van outside this barn over here. This is where the barn is located. It's on Hall Lane right here. And yesterday on the maps, I provided a picture for you, which shows that there are places where you could cross the river and get to that barn. Let's put it on here. Not that one. This one. The green is where it's shallow enough to cross over. The orange is where it's a little bit deeper, and the red is where you can't cross over. So just to show that it is possible to get to that barn, this is provided by a friend of Paul and Nicholas. So there's that. Okay, carrying on here. So what's important? What do we need to know, right? We need to know lots of things, but really what we need to share, of course, is that they are still looking for dash cam footage, let's say from here, from where the school is, this stretch over here up to the towpath, and including anyone that saw anything on that day along this towpath. Willow was found. Someone saw Nicola walking around there, and at 8:47 on the lower field. At 9:33, the caravan park owner finds Willow, and we've looked at that today, that person, that Sky News spoke to, is her brother-in-law. Okay. If you're asking where did I get that information from, friends of the family that actually had been out there and spoken to that person themselves initially, the day after Nicola went missing, to get information as much as possible and, get flyers going and everything to help out to find Nicola. So the thing is, if Willow was running between here and the stile, which I believe is more this way, that's important. That's important to know, right? And so this towpath, if anyone saw anything between 9:10 and 10:50 and beyond, even on this path all the way here, and turning, if she had turned out left here or something had happened here, yes, if you have any information, please send that to the police. If you want to send me something to try to piece together and put in a presentation, it's grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. And if you get lost with any links, or you want to buy me a coffee or something, everything is on grizzlytruecrime.com. Donna, you say, thanks, G, for all your hard work and laser focus on this case. My heart goes out to Nicola and family. Thank you so much, Donna. Yes. Lorraine says it's so scary someone can just disappear without any trace, right? So, yes, so this is what we still need. I'm sure we've done so much map time as well. They say they've got CCTV footage from this gas station. So they've got footage from here. They're going through all of that. There's some spots here that have CCTV as well. Allotment lane here. The houses have got CCTV footage here, so they know she didn't leave here. But there's actually more blind spots than not. This is a blind spot. This is a blind spot. Going left is one. Here is one as well. The camera, we know, wasn't working here, and we know that from family and friends. It wasn't working going over the field. And why did they know that? Because that's what the police told them. So yesterday, we also cleared up that when the police say that the Rowan water cameras were working, I'm just going to put it on in case you missed it. Then what they're talking about is the following. The main entrance off Garstang Road is where the Rowan water main entrance CCTV cameras were working. The ones that we're talking about on the upper field, you could see the red triangle. That one was not working. That's what police said initially. So I don't know why, now the police are saying, yeah, those cameras are working and everyone's cooperating, but the camera facing over the field was not working, which is why they don't know what happened to Nicola. They can't see it. All they had to rely on is the phones, the telephony, that shows the phone moving towards the bench around 9:20 is what they said in the latest press conference. But in the first three, the press briefing and two press conferences, Superintendent Riley said the phone was placed on the bench at 9:20, and they know that from telephony. Bushwhacker says Nicola needs support. They've done nothing bad. They just had a bad day. The faults in the system is not Nicola's fault or blame. Absolutely. Thank you, Bushwhacker. Thank you so much, Violet Gracie. Thanks for supporting the channel and all the research. Thank you so much. So I hope this has been helpful. What I want to know is, of course, if the guy who spoke to Sky News, that is Penny, the caravan park owner's brother-in-law, if he says he found the phone here at the bench, and there's a guy with a white fluffy dog, we don't know what time. We do not know what time the guy with the white fluffy dog saw Penny tying Willow up with twine. That's what he told family and friends. So we don't know what time that was. I'd love to know what time that was, please. And when he told his wife he saw about 3 people in the field that day, is it 3 people that's associated with this caravan park? Because if so, surely they're all amongst each other. There's 3 people that then saw things, that heard things, that know things, maybe anything, any more information. They may hold the key. Okay. Some people, I'm gonna wrap up any minute now. I just see there's some people in the chat. If you go watch the replay, you will see what I'm talking about. We were looking at this interview here. They actually retraced the steps. Hold on. I'll show you here. We were looking at this interview with Sky News that they had done with a dog walker. They just call him Ron the dog walker. But that guy is Penny's brother-in-law, married to her sister. Okay. I just want to see this because they actually walk the path here. So here we go.
Hundreds of cars.
700 vehicles.
Yeah, that would have passed through that morning. And so they are clear they want to try and speak to every single one of those drivers to get as much dash cam footage as they possibly can to try and piece together what exactly has gone on. So she would have crossed this road and would have walked down this path, which heads up to not only the bridge which she crossed, but in fact the church which she would have passed. And she would have come up here to this iron bridge, which again has been another real focal point of the last 3 weeks. Look at all these beautiful ribbons, daffodils that have been tied up with messages.
Daffodils. Hello World says, could she have jumped off the bridge? I think someone would have seen that because there's so many cars going past there as well.
Nicola's partner came down here, leaving a message on one of them as well. And as we just go a bit forward, we get to the other side of the bridge and essentially the start of the path which is next to the river. This is the path that runs along the River Wyre, and it was 8:43.
Yeah.
This time.
This is when
right
she
now,
first
3
hit this.
weeks ago,
So, quite a pace she was walking at, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. We walked and she's got a dog with her. Probably the dog, running a bit ahead of her. You're a dog walker yourself.
The River Wyre there.
Over 2 weeks before that morning, she had a visit from police because.
The reason I'm showing you this is because there's drone footage shots from this too, which is really great to see the field like this.
Of concerns for welfare.
Yeah, we
big
know that a
question.
medical team went to the home on the 17th of January, and they haven't told us anything more than that. But we do know that the police have referred themselves to the Complaints Committee as a direct result of that moment.
If we just pause here, because before we.
Yes, pause there. So this is the lower field, and this over here is the upper field. This is that hedge separating the two, and you can just slip around here like that and go here. Okay.
Get to the upper field, it was around this time, roughly about 8:50, that Nicola was then spotted by another dog walker. Yeah. Someone who knew her, walking around the lower field with their dog as well. The two dogs actually interacted before the other dog walker went off and took the river path, which we've just come down. And Nicola then carried on with her dog Willow
So she
very shortly, she would have just been finishing her email off, which goes to her boss.
Yeah.
And
so she's looking at the dog. She's making sure the dog's all right.
Yeah.
You know, from my own experience, you keep an eye on them, but you're doing other things as well. The sheep across the way there, just obviously keeping an eye on what's going on. And then she sends the email.
yeah, at 8:53, police say right now, 3 weeks ago, Nicola hit send.
Yeah.
And an email was sent to her boss.
Yeah.
I have asked for more information on maybe what that email was about. I don't know yet. If I get any information that I can share, I will let you know.
So if you're just tuning our way, we are retracing the steps of Nicola Bulley 3 weeks ago today. It's 9 o'clock, and she would have been on a Teams call about now.
Yeah, it was about a minute's time or so. She logged into that Teams call. I imagine the meeting started at 9 o'clock. Nicola logged in about 1 minute past 9.
Yeah.
She would have held the
Still
phone
on this
out.
path?
Yeah. She was just walking along this upper field here.
Yeah.
She would have held the phone.
Okay, so we know all this. It's just good to see the visual. Sasha English is demanding that I show the footage of Paul that morning. Do you really think I have it? Are you talking about the CCTV footage? No one has it. But the friends that I'm in contact with, they've seen it. And I'm just relaying information that he is in it. Can I prove it? No, I'm the messenger. But he did help to put the girls in the car that day, and he was on the CCTV footage. They've shared still shots of that footage so that people can see what Nicola was last wearing.
Phone out in front of her, police said. And that's where...
Well, that's what you do, isn't it? When
You've got it on speaker.
Teams. Yep.
You hold it out in front of you.
Yeah.
And she wasn't talking. She wasn't on video. It was
Her
just
pace
simply...
would have been slower here because she was listening to what was being said.
Yeah. And again, as I mentioned, her dad said in relation to work, she was in good spirits. She just, as a mortgage advisor, had just got a deal through. So she was happy about that. And, she sent an email to her boss.
And she starts to join a Teams conversation. The camera's not on, the audio is not on, but she is holding it out in front of us. And we know that because somebody saw her right now.
Yeah, it was at 9:10 here on the upper field. That's
okay. We know that. Bob Blaney Forest. Would I love to know that too? Initially, the information that was received was that it was the elderly man with a white fluffy dog that saw Willow barking. That's why he looked up and saw her that day. He looked up and like, oh, okay, that dog was barking up there. So that is interesting because even that story's changed a bit. So between the elderly man with a white fluffy dog and the family at the caravan park, between all those people, what do they know?
somebody then saw Nicola, a witness that has been spoken to by police. So 3 weeks ago, let's put this in perspective, 3 weeks ago, 9:10 in the morning, somebody saw Nicola walking with...
Don't you think this drone footage is great? So KDips18 says, nearly got crime analyst to 4K subs. I would love to, you guys know my favorite number is like 5 or 55 or whatever. I think it's from watching like, it's from South Africa, like cop movies, true crime type movies as a kid. And they're always like 555 with all the American phone numbers. So I just love the number 5. Can we get crime analyst on YouTube to 5,500 subs today? There's 6,300 people here. So if you're not subscribed to Crime Analyst, please go over there and say you're from Grizzly True Crime. That would be great.
With her dog Willow here.
You know, just to illustrate, you know, that this is where the dog walkers come all the time.
Here comes Penny's
Her partner
brother-in-law.
came along, Paul, and he's retraced these steps many times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He has. And he came down pretty much straight away. You know, he wanted to see what was the scene like, what happened here straight away. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Come on
Fine.
through.
Do come
How
through.
are you?
No, no, not at all.
Good to see you.
You live here?
Well, it has been like that. So you actually, you saw the phone, is that right?
He's like, good morning. Blocks the way entirely. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah. You saw the phone that Friday morning?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was around, was it after 9:30?
I gave a full statement to the police with the exact time because excuse me, because my wife's telephone call had at the time on it, so
Yeah.
but I've given a full statement.
Yeah.
Was it just on the bench, or
Pardon?
was it just on the bench?
The phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness.
How's the last 3 weeks been?
Each day something new comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But,
And in terms of, you know, when you saw Phone, Lead, and Willow, who you knew who Nicola was.
no, I didn't.
Oh, you knew.
We watched this already. This is now round 3, but I'm just watching it one more time with you guys. Sasha says, "Given a timeout, I thought there was footage. My bad. I don't believe it, but thanks for answering. Wasn't demanding." You see the many exclamation marks that sounds like shouting, which is probably that's why I say demanding. It's the non-verbal communication for me. Suzanne says, "Just tuning in. Can't wait to watch from the beginning. Amazing channel, G. Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan." Or Suzanne. Hope I'm saying it right. If you guys wouldn't mind, please like the video and share it, because it really helps other people then see it, and it, you know, boosts the video into the algorithm. If you think this content is good and helpful and everything, please do that. Okay, it's free, easy to do. Just a tap.
Willow, that was it, wasn't it? You knew you knew Willow.
I knew I'd seen both the owners of Willow walking this dog in the past, but whilst I knew them by face, like I know your face, I didn't know the name.
Yeah. But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the Phone, the Lead, and Willow, you were like, "Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right."
I thought somebody had gone to the toilet in the. You know, that would have been my first. I got to about this red brick building here, and I thought this is not right.
This is the part.
So you got from the bench to the red brick building, which I know everyone asks about. What I've researched about it is that I don't know what the official term for it is, but it's got equipment in there that measures the river's temperature and speed and things like that. Does anyone here know exactly what it's called? What the official term is? Not too sure. But someone actually broke into there, because there was this rumor going around that it's got like underground tunnels and stuff. Somebody actually broke into there, and there were pictures shared on social media, which I haven't shared because I'm not here to spread a conspiracy. But it did look like there's a square hole in the floor. I don't know where it goes, or if it's just shallow. Couldn't see. They didn't share it like that. That's why it seems to just feel conspiracy. This is like underground tunnels and stuff. Nevertheless, interesting to still consider. I wouldn't completely write that off. I don't know. I'd love more information on that if you have it.
Of the river where the police think that she has gone into the water. There's no sign here at all of you know, any scuffs or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is where her phone is found.
Yeah. Well, look, it's 9:20 right now.
Yeah.
9:20 3 weeks ago. Nicola's phone had moved to this bench, but we're at a very important juncture right now. Okay, it's 9:30.
It had been a 30-minute team call that ended. She'd logged on about 9:01. It had obviously started at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But she stayed logged on.
So police say that the team's call ended 9:30, but Nicola's phone remained logged on to that team's call. In other words, she hadn't ended the call.
So that happened 3 weeks ago right now.
Yeah. Approximately, police say it was 9:33 3 weeks ago that the lady who owns a caravan park just around the corner here actually spotted Nicola's phone, spotted Willow, and spotted the harness. She was another dog walker. So, you know, she noticed who Willow was, noticed who Willow belonged to, and then that's when things really kicked into action. And other locals got involved.
Yeah, so that's like the 45 minutes from when she dropped the children off at school. We've walked her walk today, starting in the car park, walking along Blackpool Lane, going past the 16th century parish church, very beautiful building, walking down.
Okay, the rest we know. It's a Sky News reporter. There's no Sky News reporters. You guys, everyone's asking, who's that? Who's that? Right now, in the poll that I've got for you guys, I said, what do you think happened to Nicola Bulley? And the options were accident or fell in the river. 11% voted for that. Foul play or abduction or third party. 59% voted for that. Left voluntarily to start a new life. 16% voted for that. And she decided to end her own life. 14% voted for that. you can see as the days are going on, percentages are shifting, but all options still open. So thank you so much for voting on the poll. I will now end that poll there. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate it. Mods, thank you so much. You did such an excellent job as you always do. I know today it's very, very busy as well. Happy Friday to everyone. I hope that you stay safe. I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead. If there's any news to share with you this weekend, yeah, I never rest, right? So meaning like it's not like see you on Monday. If there's anything to share, I will share it with you. I'm also monitoring many updates in other cases. And if you like little updates like that, mostly I share that on Patreon. I share documents on there. We had like a little coffee chat yesterday, a little Patreon only live stream where I shared a whole bunch of updates, including Taylor Shea Business and her fighting her lawyer, new documents in the Delphi case, Marcus Spanavello updates in Cassie Carley's case. So if you like those sort of little mini updates, some of them are on Patreon as well. Panda Place from South Africa. Thank you so much. How's it, G? I know it isn't much after YouTube's cut and converted to euros. I really appreciate it so much. Just some czars from South African lady to another. Thank you for your hard work. Stay blessed and beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if anyone's wondering why Panda Place says that after YouTube's cut, yeah, YouTube takes 45 to 50% of everything. So if you want to support content creators more than YouTube offers, Patreon, PayPal, buy me a coffee, all those things. It's all on my website. So thank you so much. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that through, watching Laura Richards's video, that's helped to just calm us, right? Refocus. I think it was a really good message. And I hope the maps help. Continue, please, to share that, even if you clip it and things like that. And I will keep you posted. And I'll see you. I'll see you in the next one. Happy weekend, everyone. Thinking of Nicola's family and friends. It's absolutely excruciating. 3 weeks. 3 weeks today since she vanished just about into thin air. And the police are still saying she fell into the water and all that. So it's very, very frustrating. And, let's just think of them and be kind to them. And I will see you in the next one. If you are on Twitter, if you're part of the Grizzly Twitter squad, please like this and share on Twitter and tag me, and then I'll retweet and we'll connect over there. There's lots of Grizzlies on Twitter, so I'll see you over there. It's where I'm most active on social media. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. And subscribe to Crime Analyst. I'm going to go look how many of you are there. Okay. Bye, everyone.